Hello everybody! Today we're going to unbox, take a close-up look and test the Night Provision BX-1200 bike light set. So let's first take a look around the outside of the box. So in this box is the Night Provision BX-1200 bike light set, and this one is in matte copper. It's also available in black. And just taking a look at the details that's on the box packaging. So there are a list of features on the side of the box, and at the back of the box there are a list of its features again, as well as specifications. And now let's go ahead and open up the box by lifting up the top flap and sliding the contents out from the box packaging. And just checking through, making sure that we've removed everything from the box. And we can close it back up and set it on the side. So just setting the box on the left hand side of the table and spreading the contents from the box packaging across the tabletop. So laying them out across the tabletop so you have a complete look at the items from this Night Provision BX-1200 bike light sets box packaging. So let's first take a look at this card. So there is a card here with some support information. And just setting that down and moving right along. There is some caution information, as well as need to know stuff before using the bike light set. So this bike light set is powered by the Cree XM-L2 LED. I'm just going to set this on the side, so just setting that on the right hand side of the table and just giving you a look now at the bike light set. So just spreading the contents across the tabletop from its clear plastic tray packaging. So right there are the parts from the box packaging. So we're just going to tidy up the tabletop so we have a full look at all the details across and laid out on the table. So over here we have a clamp which is made out of plastic, so just feeling with the back of my hand to see whether it is cool or not, to see whether it is metal or not. So it is a plastic clamp with a thumb screw and some other details right there, and just loosening the clamp so we have a better look as to its adjustability. Alright, so right there is the clamp, and I'm just going to set that down and move on to the next item. So there is a USB Type A to Type C cable, as you can see right there, at ends, USB Type C, and of course the USB Type A. Okay, and just setting that down on the left side and moving right along. So it appears to be another USB Type A to Type C cable. So I believe they're both for charging the headlight as well as the tail light. Okay, so once again, Type C, once we can get focus right there somewhat, and the Type A end. So two of those cables, sing them down, and then we do have a strap here made from silicone, so nice and floppy and stretchy as well, so it is elastic. And just to give you a look at the details right there, it does have a plastic hook for fastening, I suppose. Okay, not entirely sure what that does so far, but nonetheless giving you a look at the, I see, so it goes on the seat post, goes vertically like that, and then we can mount the tail light onto it. So right there, giving you a look at the, what I believe is the mount for the tail light onto the seat post. Okay, so just setting that down and moving right along somewhere, so we're just trying to tidy up so we have everything in view without obstructing the foreground. Okay, so right there, and moving right along to the next item. So this appears to be the tail light, so let's pop it out from its bubble wrap packaging. So it does have the matte copper finish, so consistent with the headlight design. So giving you a look right there and resting it in my palm to give you some sense of its size. Okay, so small, and then just taking a close-up look at its details. You can see that it does have the night provision branding on it. So taking a thorough look, so it does have that aluminium alloy matte copper body or casing, with that satin finish, more than matte I would say. And right there giving you a look straight on at the tail light, and of course the inner side of it as well, or back side, you can see it does have a USB-C port right there. Although it does look more like a micro USB port instead, oddly, but nonetheless giving you a look right there at the details. I could be wrong. So it does have that red backing to it. So setting that down and moving right along, we do have the headlight itself. So we can see it does have the BX-1200 print on it in white against the matte copper, but once again I would say it's more of a satin copper finish. It does have a nice heft to it, having a very solid, as you can hear me tapping away. It is fully packed and quite solid in feel. And let's take a close-up look at the details at the back, so giving you a look right there at the back part of the light. And of course it does have a flap there, and this looks more like a USB-C port in shape anyway, compared to the tail light that we just saw. And taking a look at the other details, so on the underside, and of course the front, and powered by the Cree XM-L2 LED with a maximum brightness of 1200 lumens, and the top side of the headlight. So a hot warning at the front part, and on the middle of the body there is a switch. So giving you a look, and on the opposite side is the night provision branding. So giving you a full look all around. So you can hear very, very solid in sound and in weight as well. So that overall look. And of course, to give you some sense of its size, resting it in my palm. And of course, giving you a look at the both of them, the tail light as well as the headlight. So right there, the night provision BX-1200. Now let's go ahead and turn them on. Let's try the tail light first by pressing and holding on the button itself. So it does not appear to have any charge at the moment, so we might need to charge it up. So you can see pressing away, not responding. So battery could be flat, as I said, and just needing a recharge. Now let's try the headlight. And the headlight does have power, and I can feel instantly the heat generated from this LED light. And right there, giving you a look at the intensity and of course the width of the flood of the light, pointing it on the tabletop. So let's tap again. Onto the various modes. Pressing and holding turns it off, and we can see that the button does show the different modes as well, so we can adjust the brightness or intensity of the light. So 3 brightness levels: high, medium, and low. So once again, high, medium, low, and then off. And if we double tap, let's see what happens. So we do have the strobe mode. So double tapping once again, and double tapping once again. So there is an SOS mode as well, which is now showing. and double tapping once again. So different speeds of strobe and the SOS. So let's double tap, and double tap for the 3 lighting effects. So very fast blinking, slightly slower blinking, and then SOS for help. And let's try double tapping and pressing and holding. So pressing and holding at any time turns the light off. So let's press and hold and see what happens. When in the off mode, nothing happens, so we need just a single tap to turn the light back on. And once again, toggling through again the 3 brightness levels, and of course the 3 flashing modes as well. And let's take a look straight on at the maximum brightness level. So right there, of course, giving you some idea, just keeping it slightly off angle so you can see. We'll get an idea of what it might look like somewhat head on. Right there, giving you a look overall at just how strong that light is at the maximum brightness. So that's medium and that's low. So it always starts out at the maximum brightness. And let's get into the lighting effects again. So double tapping and double tapping and double tapping. So that's a very, very high speed strobe right now that's showing, but might not seem that way through the camcorder's lens. Okay, so just going to set that down and try the tail light again. So we're going to charge the tail light and then come back to see what it looks like with it on. So the tail light does actually have a micro USB port, which I didn't correctly identify with the first cable. Taking a look right there, it does have a micro USB to USB type A end. So instead of having 2 USB-C cables, they're actually 1 micro USB, which is meant for the tail light and the USB-C to work with recharging the headlight. So let's continue and charge the tail light and charge a bit of the headlight as well. Okay, so we're back after about half an hour of charging, so they're both partially charged. Now let's turn on the tail light now by pressing on the middle button. So right there, giving you a look at the lighting mode of the tail light. I'm just going to move the headlight to the side, or to the top really, so it doesn't get in the way as we take a look at the tail light. So tapping away onto the next lighting mode. So you can see that there is a chase effect happening with the light and its LEDs. So just going from the middle and spreading upwards. And tapping again. So it does have a breathing mode. So fading in and fading out continuously. And pressing again. There is a strobe or flashing mode. And let's tap again. And a slower strobe. And let's try the modes again. Let's go through them. So that's mode 1, mode 2, mode 3, mode 4, mode 5. So 5 lighting modes or effects altogether. Let's double tap to see if there's any difference. Okay, so long pressing at any point will turn the light off, and to turn it back on, just simply tapping or pressing on the button again. So just double tapping to see if there's any other functionality. So no, just those 5 lighting patterns. And of course, taking a look from the rear or the back. And just to give you some sense of those lights being cast on the tabletop. Okay, so there we go. That's the tail light. And of course we have, once again, the headlight. So the headlight does have an IPX6 waterproof rating, and the tail light does have an IPX4 waterproof rating. So highly water resistant, especially with the headlight or front light. So giving you a look straight on at both lights. And if we were to turn them both on at the first setting, so just giving you a look right there. And of course, with the mounting system for the lights, so it does have a clip on the tail light, so it seems pretty straightforward to just simply clip it onto the hole that's in the mount. Okay, had it the wrong way around, so right there we can see that the top does have a bigger slot, so just simply slotting it in and it should stay in place. So if we can just make sure that it grips nicely, and it does have quite a tight grip, but let me just push down on the flap of the USB port, which is a micro USB port and supplied with the micro USB cable, which I previously incorrectly identified as USB-C. So both cables are different, one being a USB-C for the front light and USB or micro USB for the tail light. So right there is the tail light. slotted on to the silicone strap, and we simply hook that on to secure it onto a bicycle post. So just making sure that it does hook nicely right there. Okay, so very simple to put together. And once again, the various lighting modes, and of course I could have long pressed it to turn it off, but right there. And let's take a look at the mounting system or clamp for the headlight. So I'm just going to set the tail light to the side right there so that we can look at the headlight and its fixture or fitment. So it does have a slot which slots right in place, and just making sure that we've got it in the right orientation, so it does go the other way instead. So with the slot right there, should line up to that side. So taking a look, let's try this out. So let's make sure that it is in the correct orientation. So from the front, sliding backwards right there. So that should be the orientation. As we can see, only goes in and locks properly one way. And to release, press down and slide off. So you can see that lever or locking mechanism on the left, spring loaded on the clamp, and once again sliding backwards onto the clamp. And with the clamp, seeing if we can open this up. So it needs to be fully opened so that it can be slipped onto a handlebar or post somewhere on your bicycle. Let's just check it out. Unscrew it completely, see what happens. Hopefully that middle pin stays in place. So right there, simple assembly of the clamp. So it does have a rubber sleeve right there, and of course a sturdy plastic clamp. So let's take a look right there. So we have some sense of the width of the clamp. So a very simple operation for the clamp. Now let's see if there's any adjustability or movement. So this part seems completely rigid right there. Okay, and let's turn it on just to give you once again some sense of the headlight with the Cree XM-L2 LED. So at the maximum brightness, it does have a 1200 lumens rating. Of course, we have the 3 levels of brightness, and then the 3 lighting modes as well. Alright, so now let's go ahead and fit it onto a bicycle. So in front of us is a bicycle, an old bike. Let's go ahead and fit the lights onto it. So let's try with the front part first, seeing that the handlebars might be quite thick, or too thick for the clamp. Let's find out. Well, actually, it might just be able to fit and it will fit onto the handlebar. So right there, giving you a look and just making sure that we have the rubber positioned nicely, the rubber sleeve, and there we go. Light is fitted nicely on the handlebar, and having that thumb screw there, very simple to tighten or loosen. And still turning to make sure that it clamps down nicely and tightly. Alright, so pretty much with the front light fitted, we can see right there, should point it down slightly just to give it a bit of an angle. So now loosening it and just turning the clamp, pointing it down slightly. Let's test it out before we tighten it any further. So right there you can see the light is fitted nicely on the handlebar. And now let's fit the rear light, and just by unhooking, and let's see if we can strap it onto the post at the back. So we want to keep it slightly on the high side, and just simply hooking the strap on, and let's turn it on. And before that, I think we can actually move it one position tighter to make sure that it doesn't slide about or shift around, or even we can even go for the maximum furthest hole in the strap. And let's turn on the light. So there we go, we have the rear light on and the front light on as well for this night provision BX-1200 bike light set. So of course we have the various lighting modes as well. For the front and the rear. So right there, giving you a look at the lights flashing away. With the front and the rear. So I'm just going to back it up slightly so you can have a better look right there. At the front and the rear lights. Alright, and let's toggle through to just see the different lighting modes. So we have the maximum brightness, medium and low. So once again, high, medium, low, high, medium, low. So very simple operation, and of course double tapping does give us the 3 lighting modes. Okay, and with the rear we can toggle through as well, so 5 modes for the rear. So just tapping away right there. But obviously you won't quite see the effect, given that you're seeing just side view. So let's try and angle the bike in a different position so you can see the light from a different perspective. So right there, possibly you might be able to see something. Now let's toggle through. The different lighting modes or patterns. So 5 altogether for the rear light. So that's the first one. Second one. Third mode. Fourth mode or pattern. And the fifth. Alright, so let's just turn it on to the most visible one, which I think would be the fourth right there, so flashing away. And then let's move to the front and set it, or turn it on to the maximum at the first setting right there. So they're giving you a look at the overall details of this Light Provision BX-1300 bike light set. So once again, toggling through the lighting modes. And leaving it on in the maximum brightness right there. For the front light, and the rear light. So that's the Night Provision BX-1200 bike light set. Thanks for watching and happy riding!